The Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN, is back under scrutiny. All 24 senators have now released their SALNs, but instead of providing clarity, many are raising new questions about generic asset listings, unexplained wealth, and the lack of historical data for comparison. So in 2025, amid corruption allegations and public pressure, how effective is the SALN today as a tool for transparency and accountability? And can a smarter digital cross-check system help clean up government and restore taxpayer confidence? Joining us now for discussion on this is former BIR Commissioner Jacinto-Henares. Good morning, Kim. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to join you.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion, Kim. Kim, all 24 senators have now released their SALNs. From what you've seen, any red flags or what stands out to you the most?
Well, what stands out is that first, when we say the SALN need to be public, it doesn't mean they have to publish it. No, it just means that if anyone want to ask for it, then they can get it. What I notice is that although they don't need to publish it, what they did was they redacted or they blackened out some important data, no, which make the publication not that useful. No? So in my mind, why did you publish it pa when you're just going to do it that way?
Yeah, lots of things to dissect here. Kim, are these disclosures, when you look at it as a whole, are these disclosures actually helping to promote transparency, or are they raising more questions than answers?
Well, first, I would like to put a caveat. This is a SALN of 24 people. No? The government officials is around 1.2 million people. So it statistically, it does not represent the 1.2 million people. No? Because if you look at the SALN of some of the senators, it raised more questions than answers some questions.
Okay, going into that, which ones raised red flags for you or raised big questions?
Well, looking at Senator Mark Villar's SALN, no, it has an other real and personal property, 844 million plus pesos. No? Uh, it's but then he detailed all his cars. No? So if you look at it,
Okay, I see
it's
where
lack
you're
of
coming
detail.
from. Yeah, let me help you out there. I see where you're coming from. He detailed cars, but not 844
44
million
million.
pesos, which is odd, right? So in Senator Mark Villar's case, he listed 844 million that way, while his sister, Senator Camille Villar, actually itemized shareholdings in several Villar companies. Same family, different approach. What does this tell you about how inconsistently the SALN rules are being applied, even among public officials in the same family?
Yeah, I think first I don't think they talk to each other. No, if you look at Senator Mark Villar's SALN, he also enumerated two shareholdings. No, so if you do it that way, that means that 844 million does not include shareholdings in companies. No, then it raised another question. Your sibling, how come your sister has shareholding in most of the Villar companies? How come you, as the brother, does not have any shareholding? That's the other question mark. No? I'd like to state that the Civil Service Commission have an FAQ on how to fill up your SALN. No? And I think they should have read it. And the other thing is that, if you know how to itemize your car, how come you didn't know how to itemize your other real or personal property? And the SALN law was made by the legislature. No? It's the specific of the SALN law. And the intent was for you to enumerate your assets so that government can check on you so that you don't get ill-gotten wealth. And the other thing is so that the public, if they get your SALN, they can monitor you and hold you accountable. How come you have this asset but it's not in your SALN? Or if you compare it to your previous SALN, how come it suddenly became so much?
Well, that's one thing. This is just the 2024 SALN. Do you think we need a historical data so that we can compare figures? For example, from the first time the government official took office, shouldn't we see the SALN then so that we have a point of comparison? Kim, what do you think?
Yeah. But you have to remember this is just them volunteering to publish their 2024 SALN. No? So to make the analysis of your whether there's ill-gotten wealth and all these things, you have to compare this SALN with another SALN. No? Uh, uh, Ideally, you should have all their SALN through the years. If you cannot have it all, you should have at least the first one and this one to compare. If there's dramatical changes, then that's where you go and investigate why is there such a change.
Yeah, that's the word, ideally. And then also, you mentioned having to enumerate the actual assets. But, hundreds of millions of pesos are filed under the catch-all phrase of other real and personal properties with no details, no breakdown, no explanation. Given this, Kim, in your view, how effective is the SALN today? Has it become mere compliance, or does it still have the teeth to detect unexplained wealth?
Well, Senator Mark Villar's reporting of his SALN is the aberration. No? Because if you look at all the other SALN, there's a cash in bank, they break it down, cash in bank, jewelry, artwork. No? It's only him who does not have that, although he itemized his cars. No? So the law itself, you know, uh, when you draft a law, you cannot address everything, but you have the intent behind the law, and and people should follow the intent. Otherwise, our laws will be long, no, because you have to spoon feed everyone and say this is how you should do it. You cannot do it this way, no. But otherwise, it now becomes voluminous, no. Uh, we should be guided by the intent of the law, which is that so that people know what are your assets and whether there's suddenly an increase, why did it increase, where did your asset come from? No, that's why if you look at the real property, it said there a mode of acquisition. No, it can be inheritance, donation, or acquisition or
Yeah,
purchase.
the intent is there, the law is there. It's just in the implementation where things kind of get a bit hazy. And as we talk about this, Kim, the SALN, should it be something that evolves as well to reflect wealth today? Um, you know, that means also disclosing beneficial ownership, stock holdings, trust interests, because without that, the SALNs don't really show the full picture. How do you think this SALN 2.0 should evolve?
Well, I think one way to make everything clear is probably that there should be a single custodian of all SALN, and there should be a digitalized input and coding of your, let's say when you submit your SALN, you go to a website or an app wherein you fill it up. It will guide you how you fill it up. No? So it will say you should put your cash in bank and all those things. No? So that it now becomes uniform. And when you submit it, it's digitalized, and the custodian can use AI to analyze all the SALN, no? And determine and do a quality control. No? And you can, because of technology, you can do it fast. And from there, you segregate, and then you, following what the Supreme Court said, no, that if there's a discrepancy, you ask the person to, you call the attention of the person, why is there a discrepancy for the explanation, no? I think that's what the Supreme Court decision said, no, that the custodian should first supposedly give the other party a chance to explain and correct. Otherwise, it's not valid, no, filing
Okay.
of case of perjury. Except they also said it's not an excuse for concealment.
Right. Okay. So right now you're saying it's the information is scattered between the Civil Service Commission, the COA, BIR, AMLC. So you're saying that a single data warehouse is for all SALN. We need something like that. Kim, what's at risk if we don't do this?
Well, like what we're doing now, no, it's a silo, no. The judiciary have their own, keep their own SAL, and the legislative body, the Senate and the Congress, keep their own SAL, and then among the executive, there's still a division, no. The civil service get the SAL of everyone salary grade below 26, and everything salary grade 26 and above, I think, is with the ombudsman, no? And so how do you do an analysis of all this? And the standard will be different because different custodian will have different standards.
Yeah, okay. Well, lastly, Kim, really quickly, do you think Malacanang has the willpower to make these changes in the SALN? So the intent of the SALN is really there and it really works.
Well, Malacanang has the power. Now they have to show their will, no? But the SALN is a legislative, it's a law. So the other thing that needed is also an amendment to make it stronger, no? Because it seems like people don't understand or don't want to understand, no? So maybe you should be more detailed in your law.
Okay, Kim, former BIR commissioner, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.